All right, here's the longer video. Many of you have already heard this story, but for those who haven't, you will soon. I'm sure every news station is taking the opportunity to tell it. The problem is that it's being told with half-truths and misleading info. The original story summarized is a mom is at a party in Florida. Her daughter ingests one of the other attendees' high THC edibles, which is packaged to look like candy. The kids fell asleep, but then the mom realized the kid had ingested the candy, tries to wake her up. She's unresponsive, potentially had what appeared to the mom as seizure-like activity. 911 was called. The kid goes to the hospital, is observed, gets some fluid, and ends up fine. The mom thanks God the situation wasn't deadly and wants better packaging laws for MMJ. As I've said previously, I once gave my own daughter the exact dose that this little girl ate at half of her age. So this little girl was 6. When my daughter was 3, I accidentally gave her 50 milligrams instead of 5 milligrams. I had no idea that I had done this. She was lethargic, which for a brain cancer patient is a really, really scary symptom. She had major stomach cramping, was sleepy for a couple days. Just like this little girl, she did go to the ER. She was sent home and she was fine. That was a huge turning point of my realization that we did need better options and regulations in place for proper labeling, testing, dosing, etc. And we've been advocating on behalf of that for several years. So in some ways, we are on the same page as this mom. But what I didn't do was spread misinformation for the sake of a shock factor. And I'm not saying that that's what this mom has done, but it most certainly is what the media will do. So here are some of the main outpoints of the story. The mom states that it could have been deadly. Of the millions of documented current cannabis users across the world and millions upon millions of cannabis users throughout history, there has never been a documented death. There are supposedly 2 puppy deaths documented, but both of those were actually from asphyxiating on their own vomit. So it's very sad, but be responsible. Don't fearmonger that cannabis is deadly because it simply is not. The mom states that everything to her knowledge was legal, but it was completely illegal. This product was not a legal Florida MMJ product. It was stated in the mom's original post that she was going to be pursuing a lawsuit, but I was so confused because who are they going to sue? The friend that brought illegal, unregulated cannabis edibles to a party with children? The laws that this mom is advocating for went from state to federal because Florida, where this happened, already does have very strict packaging laws. So products like those will never be on legal dispensary shelves here. Again, those products were not legal, period. The mom's gearing up to do interview after interview with nationwide media outlets on this story, and I'm just wondering if they're going to do their due diligence and make sure that these points are known. This is the real story here, right? The unregulated underground market is thriving here in Florida and in many other states. The medical programs are too restrictive and expensive. Some people get their cards just to feel safer, but then they continue to purchase cheaper, unregulated products outside of the legal program. There was a recent story about kids at school being hospitalized after a friend passed out gummy worm type of cannabis edibles at school. And it's not the first time, right? These stories crop up every now and then. It's nothing new. Unless we legalize to safely regulate and dissipate the need for an underground market, we're gonna continue to see an influx of illegal, unregulated products. And here's a super important point. Based on the fact that this was absolutely not a legal Florida MMJ product, there's no way to know what was in it. So there's no way to know what that little girl ingested. Did the mom get it tested? Did the hospital do blood work? We've seen what spice does. We're seeing all these creative loopholes with deadly alternatives to a safe plant because of prohibition. So yes, packaging that doesn't appeal to children is super important. Canna Moms has been having that discussion for 7-8 years. We're always glad to have more voices advocating for children. We've successfully done these things here in Florida, and similar regulations should be adopted in each state. But these were illegal products, and no amount of regulation is going to regulate an illegal market. So the real story is that until we have a legal, safe, and regulated market that subdues the prevalence of an unregulated market, we're gonna see kids ingesting cannabis that looks like candy. We're gonna see products sold as cannabis that have other dangerous chemicals and drugs in it. We're gonna see the opioid and drug epidemic that was born under prohibition continue to thrive. So the real conversation should be that we need a safe and regulated market that doesn't create room for MMJ to be sold unregulated, looking like candy with potentially harmful substances added to it. We can only effectively advocate when we're not telling half-truths for hype. If the DARE program taught us anything, it's that the fear-mongering actually exploded the addiction epidemic. Now that we know better, we need to do better. I'm sure I'll be doing a ton of media on this in the coming weeks, but I really wanted to get this message out in full to empower other people to share these points. The key to effective change is that all of us be equally informed and educated. And then in turn, we inform and educate each of our own audiences. This product was illegal. If we want to see less of this, we need regulated markets. Some things you can do through me are visiting wiseflorida.org to sign up for our email list, joining the Canna Moms group through the Facebook page, talking to your own friends, neighbors, families, sharing these messages on your social media pages, and making sure these types of stories are transparent and wholly true so that we can determine what the actual problems are to find effective solutions to make the world a safer and better place for all of our children.